something hit me. When I opened my eyes, I was feeling so empty inside.
Oh, that is the nearest neighbor. I see a house there.
Yes, you're
wow,
right.
that's amazing. That house also is amazing place there. Wow, it's so nice.
Letting this river gush and be wild. So
Ce-or fi astea? N-am văzut în viața mea așa ceva. Aici, când mergem să facem duș, punem semnul ocupat. Obsazeno. Când e liber, punem semnul volno. Cam asta e locul. Cam asta e locul de unde se ia apă și unde se face duș. Deci aici e un izvor sub pământ, apa e foarte bună de băut. Nu are debit foarte mare, dar e bună de băut. Dușul este aici, din această găleată. Și e foarte ok. Chiar am făcut aseară un duș super. Foarte rece și foarte bună la gust. So, Andrei, thank you so much for receiving me here and being so hospitable.
My pleasure.
Can you say a few words about the history of the Czech community in Banat?
Czech community in Banat. You know, nowadays there are 6 villages in South Romania, West Romania, in the Banat region, which were established here at the beginning of 19th century. Right. The first village actually was a little bit like before, at the real beginning of 19th century, by Czech people who were invited here by Hungarian forest cutter, how to say?
Minister?
No, the one who takes the wood from the forest, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, woodcutter.
Yeah,
Let's say wood cutting company. And he promised them a lot of land, a lot of work and good money and so far. So they came here, but they were cheated somehow. Not much was provided them after all, and they had a very hard life. But they somehow were able to survive, and they established, I think, first two villages. Then one of them later disappeared because of the lack of the water, but only one remained. But then...
Which one is that?
I think it's Svanta Helena. The Svata Helena. The next wave of the immigrants was already organized by the Hungarian-Austrian Empire, by the government, because they needed somebody to inhabit this area to make it like protected zone against the Turks who were just behind the Danube River, right? So they needed to make some kind of, how to say, a zone where they can have guards to guard the border. Right? So the people who were coming here were actually serving in the army, partly. But partly they were farming and partly they were serving in the army. But there were farmers, a lot of them, and most of them. So they needed to come, and they were given this land which was completely wild. I knew stories from these grandfathers of the people here now, saying that the first incomers were needed to put their potatoes in the middle of the roots of the trees, you know, to make some potatoes.
Yeah.
So sometimes they were very much struggling for the life. It's all from the garden.
And this
Except rice.
And there is achokcha.
Achokcha.
Yes,
Deci această plantă, nu știu cum să o traduc.
this one. This
Achokcha.
one, for example.
Are gust de bob. Da.
Are gust de bob, da.
It tastes like bob,
This
but
is
I don't know
achokcha.
what it is. Da, e foarte bună. Thank you, Andrei. So, for how many years have you been living here?
It's
In this
difficult to
place?
say living because at the moment I'm here only through the season, mainly from the spring to autumn. And but I came here first to this area in 2008 when I came as a university student with one researching groups. But since I came here first time, when you enter these villages, it's just you touching the past, and you're touching something very deeply rooted inside of you. For Czech people, this area is very touching because that's all that they were listening in old fairy tales, you know, reading in old books, and suddenly hearing the old language of Czech, you know, it's all very much touching.
And these people like speak an old version of the Czech language because they were so isolated,
Exactly.
remote from.
Yeah.
Yes, and they keep the old ways. They didn't. Yeah.
That's true. So they even keep the genetic code after all of the old Czech because they didn't interbreed with the Romanians.
Yeah.
And as the Romanian culture and the Czech culture are so different, that actually the separation was quite easy. So the old Czech culture was here very well preserved, better than all around the world. So this was the place to really do these kind of researches. You know? But still, there are very nice relationships between the Czech people and Romanian. These cultures are
very friendly.
Romanians are friendly by their nature, and the Czech people, they were very good in skills. You know, so the Romanians precious them for their skills and being good craftsmen and farmers.
Yes.
So they had always, I think, very nice relationships. After 4 or 5 years traveling and studying all different cultures, I want to know my own culture, my own roots, and what is indigenous in me as a Czech person. And the best place to come and study that is here. It's here. From all around the world, it's here. That's the place where I want to live independently, self-sufficiently, and be in the nature. And Romania is amazing. It still has the wild nature. The peasantry here, it's still alive. That the farmers are still rooted in the land. It's not just occupation, right? It's a way of living still.
Yes.
So being surrounded by this nature and by these people who still living close to the land, it was like my dream. I said, that's the place to be. So with my ex-Japanese wife, we started to live here self-sufficiently, building a farm, studying from the people. And gradually when she left, I changed it into my hermitage. And 3-4 years ago, I opened it as a communal space.
It's like you have a community of people who come here.
Yes.
Maybe every
but keep passing,
summer.
no? They come and go.
They come and
There's
go.
nothing permanent.
Yeah. While you are here, do you ever feel that something is missing? Do you need something else than what you already have here?
You know, everything you need is inside of you. That's the one thing that needs to be said. But when I was here alone, and I was spending extreme times alone, because there were times when I was alone for 2 months, for example, with not meeting anybody, just being here, deep, how to say, diving within myself and into myself. But then I discovered I'm a human being, and I'm a social human being, and I miss people. I started to miss people. I started to miss also the simple human happiness, and like exchanging emotions, have been connected with others and all this. So I went out and started to teach also outside, started to connect more with people. And I was always artist, so I was always doing performances and writing books and doing lectures all around the Czech Republic and other countries. And gradually I made it like communal place. So there are now people coming here, and when they come here, they actually discover that they miss nothing. If you have support of others, if you have friendship here, if you have this amazing nature, if you have good food, good air, good water, silence,
Yes.
then you have what else you need for the well-being of yourself.
You don't need. If you can say just a few words about your trip in the Carpathian Mountains on top of a horse and with your wife and the child, which not many people could do this.
Yes, it was crazy. I wouldn't do it again. But
What was your motivation and what did you gain from this experience?
Well, it was 2014, so 10 years ago, exactly, almost. And exactly, because it was August 2014 when we set off. So, those days we were in very hard and deep self-sufficient way of living. Like we really tried with my wife to be as independent from the modern economical and consume system as possible. So we were working very hard to be like self-sufficient with food, with water, with building, with transport, to use as little money as possible. But through that also to discover more the inner independency, how the spirit is independent on our senses, on our body, on the connections with the world and with the others. So it was all pretty much a training, but also a way of living where we were getting stronger. But at the same time, we were getting very exhausted because it's very hard, especially when you try to keep your way away from the system, because the system keeps trying to pull you back. So we managed like maybe 80% of the food self-sufficiency, 70, 80, but the rest 100%. We were building from natural materials. We had no machines, no electricity, no chemicals used. It was super ecological way of lifestyle. But we were also searching and finding that there are limits to it. Our personal limits, because you can't work that hard all the time, because then you're losing something from your gentleness, you're losing time for your practice more, for developing the softness inside of you, for developing relationship and love and all these things we were losing. And also we saw the limit in that way that we are now attached to the land as farmers. What about if war comes, right? What about if 5 years of like dryness comes? Who are we? Where is our self-sufficiency suddenly? And I needed to acknowledge that we are not and never will be able to be completely self-sufficient, that we need to find other source of certainty, And of course, the deepest source of certainty is inside of you. It's God, not just inside of you, but inside the world. And to discover this source of certainty and power, it's best if you give up everything, right? And you can give up everything the best way when you go on trip like we did. So we went to the mountains with a horse who was carrying our stuff. We had 1-year-old baby with us, and we just walked for almost 3 months, about 500 kilometers on the higher mountains. And we were just giving up ourselves to this higher source of power, and we were completely fed and we were completely taken care, and we got this type of certainty. That was one thing. So to cross the border of self-sufficiency, to get into the spiritual independence, which is based on deep dependence on the higher power. That's very funny paradox. But the next thing was that our child was 1 year old, and I wanted to give her the possibility to enter into herself, to suck as much as the natural life as possible, nature stimulations. Of course, the mountains is the best for it. And Romanian mountains are basically amazing and wild and so pure still. So, yeah, and eventually we just loved traveling. And everybody was telling us, when you have child, you can stop traveling. It's over. And I said, no, no. And we keep traveling. So we took the horse and we went. It was amazing, but hard at the same time.
And you also wrote a book about it, but it's in Czech language.
It's in Czech language, this one.
Can you show it? Yeah.
Now, as you inspiring
Pomalu
me,
or how do you, pomalu?
Pomalu s miminkem a koněm v páteři Karpat. It means slowly, because we were very slow.
I'm also a very slow person.
Yeah, we love that. The slowliness is the way to God, you know.
Yes.
Really, when you slow down your mind, slow down your body, and you just follow and feel what's around you and follow the natural pace of life, then you can get the connection. That means slowly with the baby and horse through the spine of Carpathian, because it's really spine. It's really the spine of the mountains here.
I would love if you would translate it, at least in English.
Maybe one day. You're inspiring me now.
Yes. and just one last question. If you have just an advice for young people who want to escape maybe all the social pressures, all the chains, you know, if you understand, and this, I don't know, just live a freer life.
First thing, slow down. That's the first thing. Slow down. Second, get connected with your body, because the body is your certainty in this world. It's your identity in this world. It's your guide in this world. And the body is your connection with nature. And that's something that we need more than anything else nowadays. The nature, come back to the nature, but not become monkeys again. Just come down from this stupid mind, stupid robotic mind, elusive mind. Just come back to the body and be real human beings. That's the second thing. And third, very practical, throw away all these virtual technologies. Not throw away, okay. Just use them consciously and don't get lost inside of them.
You use them, don't let them use you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So have distance from it, because it's such an energy sucker and it's such a mental world and it's such an ego world. We need to be very, very careful how we use these cyber technologies and how we use these social networks and all this stuff, because they are good servants, but terribly bad masters, really.
Yes. Thank you so much, Andrei.
My pleasure.
You're a wonderful human.
I always just try to be.